In the prologue to Lord of the Rings, Tolkien spends an oddly lengthy amount of time describing what hobbits are like. Now, I think he's offering this lengthy introduction before the ring, before Mordor, before the great burden falls on Frodo as an answer to a question you as the reader don't know how to ask yet. Tolkien wants you to be ready to see why the ring doesn't corrupt Frodo. Now, hobbits are not impressive. They're small, domestic, they love comfort. They're the sort of people who enjoy food and gardens, birthdays and pipes, especially gossip about a few interesting family trees, and above all, a well-ordered business of living. Their weapons are mostly museum pieces. Their criminal activity is being a little too greedy and reusing gifts that they received from one person to give to another. Their police are closer to field wardens, one step up from a scarecrow. Now, they're certainly not warriors. They're not a heroic race in this sort of obvious sense. In all of that, Tolkien slips in the psychological paradox when he writes, quote, "Nonetheless, ease and peace had left this people still curiously tough." That's the wisdom point here. Hobbits aren't resilient because they were hardened by constant suffering. They're resilient because their comfort was not decadent. Their pleasure hadn't devoured their souls. They had something deeply nourishing that, if need be, they'd fight for. There's a crude moralism that says that suffering makes people strong and comfort makes people weak. That's not only false, it's dangerous. Too much suffering often doesn't ennoble people. It makes them frightened at best and bitter or cruel at worst. But comfort can also corrupt when it becomes entitled worship of ease. In Tolkien's answer to this unstated question, he gives us a third category: ordered delight. The hobbits love good things, but they haven't entirely lost the ability to do without them. They enjoy the table, but they can leave it. They love their homes, but some of them can go into exile to save those homes. They're slow to fight, but when cornered, Tolkien writes that they were doughty at bay and at need could still handle arms. They shot well with the bow, for they were keen-eyed and sure at the mark. Not only the bows and arrows. If any hobbit stood for a stone, it was well to get quickly under cover, as all the trespassing beasts knew very well. Their strength wasn't the result of grim discipline. It looks more like a cheerfulness that hasn't become slave-like dependency. Psychologically, this is sharper than the usual self-help slogan. Resilience isn't built by despising comfort. It's built by practicing freedom inside comfort. Positive emotion, secure attachment, play, belonging, and ordinary joy all build real resources. But only if they're joined to a frustration tolerance, a self-regulation, a value-based action. The question isn't whether you enjoy comfort. The question is whether comfort commands you. Can you be kind when tired? Can you be honest when you're afraid? Can you lose convenience without losing your character? Can you accept a no, wait your darn turn, bear the disappointment, and still act with dignity and being polite? Tolkien argues not to romanticize suffering, but don't worship softness either. Build a soul that can bless the feast and survive the fast, love the Shire and still walk into the dark when duty calls.